that's that. We just had something that a lot of people that were interested in Bitcoin or that are invested in Bitcoin were waiting for. We also have news that Trump is going to announce a plan later today about Bitcoin. We have some interesting earnings coming out, and we have a big event in the next 24 hours. I know people don't like when I say 24 hours, but the fact is we do have some really important data that the entire market's going to be watching tomorrow. So let's get through it. If you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on the bell notification underneath the video so you can see future videos just like this as soon as I make them. There's a link underneath the video to Margex where you can trade cryptocurrency using leverage. You can long the market, you can short the market. There's also a link to Blowfin, WEEX, also CoinW in case you want to try out those exchanges. There are some big trading events going on, so if you want to place your trades, like get this ready before the Fed announces their rate cut or rate decision, right? When the time is kind of, a little bit dull, right? A lot of people are on vacation. If you want to set the trades up now, you can get entered to win not even entered to win. You can just get some of this free Bitcoin, up to $15,000 in Bitcoin and then up to $5,000 in cash, but depending on which exchange you're looking at, by the airdrop links underneath the video. Okay, interesting. Trump will announce a plan later today to make the U.S. Bitcoin capital of the world. I see this coming from multiple big Twitter accounts. I'm not sure where they're getting this, though. I didn't see any articles about this. I didn't see Trump talk about it. Maybe I missed it. Maybe Trump mentioned it, but it will be interesting to see. It does look like he's delivering some remarks in Michigan right now, but it'll be interesting to see what comes out. If there's anything that comes out, if there's any strategic plan. Would love to see if Trump actually said we're going to be buying Bitcoin, right? That would be pretty impressive. That would be cool. But I'm not sure exactly if this is just rumor or if it's actually going to happen. So be on the lookout for that. Also, this looks like it has nothing to do with Bitcoin, right? Stephen Curry agrees to a 1-year, $62.6 million extension. I mean, this is a very, very large amount of money for a pro athlete, and we regularly think about pro athletes as being some of the richest people really in society, just like actors maybe. But look at this. Let's say Stephen Curry somehow could get away with only paying 25% tax. He would come away with a significant amount of money, right? Even after, let's say, this easy 25% tax rate, which he would get taxed much more than this. But let's say you figure out some way, he would get $46.95 million if he wanted to make the buys that Mr. 100 is doing, just 100 Bitcoin at a time. He would have to wait 1.5 months in between each buy, and that's if he put everything into Bitcoin. So that shows you how wealthy Mr. 100 is to go out and buy 100 Bitcoin, 200 Bitcoin, then 500, 600 Bitcoin yesterday. Actually, more than that. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, and 700 Bitcoin yesterday. That is essentially, that would be a Goldilocks scenario for Stephen Curry's tax situation. And Mr. 100 did that all in one day. It would take Stephen Curry 12 months to work for this amount of money. I'm not saying that he's actually going to do anything with Bitcoin. I'm just saying that really underscores how wealthy Mr. 100 is. Actually, we'll talk about Mr. 100 in a second, but first, a word from today's show sponsor. On this channel, we talk a lot about how to invest your money, where to put your money, but what if you could invest your money into a business that generates you a monthly income? That's where today's show sponsor, Limit Express Company, comes in. They will completely manage a store on Amazon for you, selling products like Colgate toothpaste, Crest mouthwash, Dove soap, and many more products. In order for Limit Express to buy these products at extremely cheap pricing, they need to spend over $500,000 with their suppliers every month. That's why they have over 150 clients that send in the funding for the inventory. They pull that money together to place a big order for their supplier. They get really cheap pricing on all the inventory and sell them for a profit on your Amazon store. And they completely manage the inventory and sales. Of course, always do your own research, right? This is not a make free money card, but if you are interested in becoming a client or just learning more about earning an income on Amazon, you can use the link underneath the video to book a free 30-minute Zoom call directly with the owner, Kyle. Now, Dell Technologies announced earnings today. A lot of people were wondering what was going to come out. The founder of Dell has brought up Bitcoin several times in the last quarter. Talk about how scarcity is value, showing pictures of cookie monsters eating Bitcoin. Now, Dell beat on EPS. They beat on revenue. The company is up actually a decent amount last time I looked after hours, 3.3%. But there's no mention of Bitcoin in their earnings. So I think a lot of people were wondering maybe, Dell is going to buy some Bitcoin. They have $7 billion in cash. Now they do have $19 billion in debt. But a lot of people were thinking maybe they'd announce some kind of, Bitcoin buying strategy. This company is also much larger than even MicroStrategy. It's like 3 times the size, and that's after they've had a pretty vicious dip from their peak this year. What's interesting about this though is even with them not buying Bitcoin, if Michael Dell really is pro Bitcoin, them doing well is very good for the Bitcoin market. Michael Dell owns about half of Dell, the stock. About half the market cap is his. So we're talking about $40 billion. It's got a 1.61% dividend yield. So that means Michael Dell is getting somewhere around $644 million in dividends each year, which is kind of nuts when you think about that, right? Now, the free cash flow yield is much higher too than what they're making, or than the dividend. So like they're only paying out 32% in dividends from what they're making. So they could pay more. He could be getting paid multiple billions of dollars a year if they want to increase that dividend ratio, which wouldn't be probably a smart idea. But the cool thing about this is if Michael Dell really is Mr. 100, well, he has a cash flowing machine just in Dell, just the dividends that he gets paid that will pay him $644 million every single quarter, $210 million every single month. And this increases year after year. So you start thinking about like, okay, maybe he had, if he really is Mr. 100, maybe he had a couple $1 billion saved up because, he put $2.5 billion in. But from here on out, he could still buy a significant amount of Bitcoin. $7 million worth of Bitcoin a day. So Michael Dell could go out right now without any stored up cash, and he could go out and buy $7 million. Now, of course, there's some taxes and stuff like that in there too. But he could buy $7 million a day or 100 Bitcoin every single day with just cash flow from this one business. He's worth about double, I think, that compared to what he has in Dell. So he has other assets, I'm sure, that are spitting off cash flow. But that's just fascinating, isn't it? That's just kind of crazy when you break down how wealthy some people are. Like, again, Michael Dell in dividends makes 10 times what Stephen Curry makes throughout an entire year, and he's one of the best paid athletes. This is just dividends. This is not a super high dividend paying stock, right? You could look at something like Warren Buffett. I know they don't pay dividends, but they have excess cash flow that then gets reinvested or stored in cash. Like, he makes so much every single year. And there are other individuals. I just bring up these people. Obviously, Buffett has nothing to do with Bitcoin. Dell's talked about Bitcoin. But there are other oil barons that are making so much money. They're trying to invest in other avenues too. So it's interesting to watch. Of course, like I've said, there's endless money. There's going to be endless debt, but there's only so much Bitcoin. We have PCE coming tomorrow. A little bit over 12 hours from now, maybe 15 hours. So last month we had 2.5%. The month before that, 2.6, 2.7, 2.7. I'm not exactly sure the expectation, but be on the lookout for something in the mid twos. I'll cover that after it comes out. We also got the Q2 GDP revision. It came in at 3%, which was higher than expected. We also had jobless claims at 231, almost in line with expectations. Ash Crypto says, what does this mean? The U.S. is not in recession according to the statistics. 2.5% expected for PCE year over year and 2.7% expected for core PCE. So be on the lookout for that. Thank you so much for watching. You can check out the links to Limit Express and also to the exchanges underneath the video.